Hello, everyone.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone. For those that actually tuned in, welcome to the first session of Smvff2020 Part 2, day number 1. We have a prologue show last night, and this is where we actually kickstart and start our day. There are plenty of events, and with that in mind, this is our first guest, Mr. Pop, all the way
Hey, how are you?
in from
I'm the first one.
Washington,
Yes,
D.C.
you're number one. Just a minute. Let me put you on the main page. And
Okay.
yeah, welcome to our virtual event. You're streaming all the way from Washington. Is that right?
Washington,
Yep,
D.C.
Washington D.C. And
Yeah. Also, good afternoon to you. I believe it's 5 p.m. your time. Getting ready
no,
for
it's
dinner.
8 p.m. 8 p.m.
Oh, sorry.
8 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Good
a three
evening.
time. Yeah, Eastern Standard.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, we are on.
Awesome.
And I'm already seeing some members that coming in and says hello.
Well, look at that, man.
Hey,
Yeah,
good
Up
morning.
and early.
yeah.
I hope you guys are doing well.
Barry. And well, probably we can actually have a lot more comments as it actually comes in. So, what do you have in store for us today? Pop?
Well, I was going to go ahead and talk about myself and how I got started, and some of the projects I have going on today or
Right.
going on this year. It's been kind of a weird year, but things keep plugging along, and we're all still doing comics and creating things. I'm also going to be inking one of the books or one of the covers of a book that I've been working on.
We're actually seeing some inking process live.
Yep.
Lucky
Yep.
audience.
I mean, it's I drew the picture, but I'll be going to go ahead and finishing it off. I usually work from a layout, and usually it's a lot looser than it is that you'll be seeing here. But for the sake of demoing and things like that, you can kind of see my process as I work through all of this. So it'll be good times. Good times.
Yeah, good times. And would you be sharing a screen? You'll be inking it digitally?
Yes.
Okay.
Is it
Great.
shared right now?
Not yet.
Okay. So let me go ahead and share that.
That's right.
All right. Here we go.
Okay. So let's
Wow, look at
see
that.
how the sausage are made, or sausage are inked.
So this is this is something I've been working on for a while. This is the black and white of it.
So this is your pencil scan.
Yeah, this is what you would call a pencil sketch here. I usually zoom in pretty tight when I'm working. I'm using a program called Manga Studio EX5 or Clip Studio. They're both the same program pretty much. And so what we have here is a property that I worked on for that first debuted at DC Comics under their. Wow, it's been so long. I don't remember what it's called, but it was like an online thing that they asked me for. But it's called the property is called Dead Seas. But the imprint it was a DC imprint that I can't even remember what it's called. Wow, that's gonna haunt me for the next few hours here.
Oh, wow. You've been in comics.
Too old.
You've been in comics that long, man, bro.
You've been in the industry for too long.
Oh man, so I got my start, which I'll segue into that as a matter of fact. I got my start back in the 90s, early 90s, as a matter of fact. I was showing. I started getting into comics right around high school. That was like I picked up my first I bought my own comic. Yeah, like my first comic with my own money back in high school, and I was a senior, and so I kind of started old, but even though I was young.
Can you remember what the first comic you picked up was?
Yes, it was an X-Men.
That's the question.
It was a Jim Lee X-Men #4, and I saw it.
Okay.
See, back in the old days, they used to sell comics at 7-Eleven, and so I saw it at a 7-Eleven, and I was blown away by the cover because it just looked so nice. And so I just bought it, and then I flipped through it. And I had read comics before, like when I was a kid. In fact, I read a lot of Thai comics. I'm from Thailand, and back in those days, when I was a kid, my parents would bring comics over from their country, Thailand. They would buy it at the Thai grocery stores, and so I would pick up the Thai. They're more like funny ones. But then my brother was really big into American comics, and I was reading some there. But yeah, the X-Men #4 by Jim Lee, that was the one that blew me away, and because of that one, I really got into drawing and wanted to be a comic book artist because of the Jim Lee X-Men #4. So that's
this will be your.
Yep.
Yeah,
that was the very first one.
And this is supposed to have the first appearance of Omega Red. And
yep. I didn't know that comics could look that cool. You know what I mean? It was like the art was just so good. It really got me into drawing comics. So I became an artist shortly afterwards. Because in my high school there were these kids. I'm gonna go ahead and start inking.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
But so when I was a kid in high school, there was like these other like classmates that were drawing, and they were pretty good too. And because they were just really like just so much better than me, basically, right? They kind of took me under their wing and then got me going. But because I'm a huge egotist, no, because no, it was
probably
like, I started. The people in my class didn't like me very much because, for me, I never competed with them. They always tried to compete with me, but like maybe I was competing with them for like maybe a month or so, but then it was like for me I always like aimed really high, right? Because in my own like my own beliefs, I believe that if you compare yourself to the top, you might never get there, but you'll get much higher than you would compare yourself to like just the guy next door. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So it's almost like aim for the moon and I'm in the stars, right?
Yeah. Aim for the moon. You might not get there, but at least you'll get to the top of the mountain, right?
At least you get out of the stratosphere.
So a lot of the kids in school, they just didn't like me because they found me very egotistical or whatever. But it was nothing personal. It was just the fact that I wanted to be as good as Jim Lee. That was my thing. I just wanted to be that good. So I pushed myself to be that good. I would work really hard at that and pushing myself to always be the best. And a lot of the kids got mad, and that was okay. That was okay. We all became friends, and and I feel kind of bad about it. But again, it was nothing personal. It was just the fact that like, hey, look, if you're only measuring yourself up to like how good I am, you might surpass me and whatever, but you're always going to like limit yourself. You always want to go as high as you can. Anyway, but so I drew comics at school, and then after I graduated, I bummed around for like a couple of years. Was it a couple of years? Yeah, it was a couple of years. Having odd jobs and whatever, trying to break in, and then I went to a Chicago Comic-Con. It was like I think it was.
Which year was that?
I'm sorry.
Which year was that? The Chicago Comic-Con. Was it
I think it was
as huge as now? 95.
It was like 95, I think. It was either 94 or 95. Might have been 94. Yeah, it was not 94. It was in 94 Chicago Comic Con. And there I met Sal Regla. I had a mini portfolio. As a matter of fact, you know what? I can show you exactly what the work looks like.
Wow, you've kept it. Fantastic.
I just have a lot of stuff.
It's your breaking portfolio.
Yeah, man.
But no, it's
wow.
like I had a mentor. His name was Wang Nguyen. He's Vietnamese, so it's like Nguyen, but his name was Wang Nguyen. And so he took me under his wing and showed me how to, you know, draw and stuff. And this is right after high school, and I worked with him for about a year. And then it was after working with him that I went to the Chicago Comic Con and met this inker named Sal Regla. I was working on a book called Metal Militia. That's what it was, Metal Militia. And
Metal Militia.
Yeah, it's Metal Militia was I drew that, and I also did some pencils on. My first pro work was on a book called Law Dog and Grimrod, and now through Epic Comics. It's like a subsidiary of Marvel Comics. But I was like,
whereby they actually publish it in magazine size. Was it? Are those the ones?
Yeah. It was magazine size, I think. So yeah, so that was like the first book I ever drew. This is before meeting Sal Regla at Chicago Comic Con. So, you know, I basically had like some epic, you know, the Law Dog and Grimrod pages with me, and I showed Sal Regla. So it was those pages plus the Metal Militia pages, and I showed Sal Regla, who's an inker at Wildstorm, and Sal flipped through the pages and was like, "Oh my God, this is really good!" So he took me to meet Jim Lee, and Jim Lee was signing in this room, and he was signing in this private room. And there was something like maybe 300-400 people in line, like wrapping around and around and around, right? And so Sal took me to the very front of the room, and cutting in front of all these people, and putting my portfolio right in front of Jim's face, you know. And Jim was like, you know, looked up, and you know, he looked at me. I was just kind of like, hey.
You're like fangirling, is it? You're fangirling over Jim Lee.
Yes, that was totally, because I mean, he was the whole reason why I started drawing in the first place. You know, he was the whole reason. So meeting him was like, you know, was just fantastic. And so here I was standing, like cutting in front of like 300-400 people. I could feel like their stares at me. You know,
their eyes like drilling holes into you.
But yeah, so Jim flipped through my portfolio, and he basically said, okay, you know, do you want to work at Wildstorm? You know, and I was just like, yeah. And yeah, that's how I was going to start. So yeah, Jim flew me out to California, I guess, but after doing some tryouts and stuff for like a couple of weeks. So he flew me out to California, and so I moved out there for about a year and a half to work under Jim. So yeah, my dreams came true at that point. So yeah, that's how I broke into comics. It was working under Jim.
But why only 1.5 years? Is there any particular reason, or why did you actually move on?
Yeah, for me, I grew up in Virginia, in, you know, with my parents, and I was very close to my grandmother, and my grandmother got really sick at that point, and so I thought we were all thinking that we were going to lose her, and so I flew back to kind of be with her, and I basically just kind of stayed because I felt like you know, I was doing the right thing. Plus, while I liked it in California and being under Jim and Wildstorm, I mean, I grew so much being out there. I also felt homesick for sure, and you know, I also felt bad that I wasn't taking care of my grandmother and my aunt and, you know, the people who raised me being out there. So yeah, that's why I came back, pretty much. So yeah, it was for family, I guess. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
typical Asian stories because of family that you decided to leave
Yeah, right.
Wildstorm.
You can take the Asian boy out of Asia, but you can't take Asia out of the boy, right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's completely right, man. That's completely right.
So, but yeah, so that's how it worked out, and I'm, sometimes I regret having left, because it was really, really great place to be, and I definitely learned a lot, and it's a place where you can really learn a lot. I got really close to there was just so much great artwork, where I was able to kind of sit there and watch, like, Travis Charay, or Chairs, however you want to call it. I don't think he's very particular about how you call his name. Anyways, so I would watch Travis draw, and he would just start on, like, a face here, and he would draw, like, down here, like a foot, and then he would just go up here to, like a pole or something, and then down here he would draw, like, a car, and then he would just connect everything. It would be like this crazy pinup. You're like, what? He's on another level, man. He's just like a genius level.
I think it's almost like he already has the whole picture in mind. He's just connecting it.
I think so.
Put it on the
I think he's got a photographic memory, I think, or something like that. I can't figure out how he could, like, he doesn't. It's almost like he doesn't really do any like you see what I'm doing here. I've got, like, everything kind of laid out already before I start drawing, like even making a line. But for him, it would be like this, and he would draw, like, the eye. It would be like perfect, you know what I mean? It would just be it was mind blowing. I don't know how he did it, but yeah. So
Understand.
it was mad.
Yeah, I mean everyone has their own style of drawing, right? So
yeah.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
But yeah, so it was good. After that, I was able to do my being away from Wildstorm was a great thing, in the sense that, like, I was able to expand pretty quick and draw other properties, like Wolverine. That was probably one of the. I went to work for Marvel pretty early on too, and got a chance to draw Wolverine and Wendigo, I think it was. And from there,
do you need to, like, move to West Marvel office back then? Was it like, do they have an office in New York, or it's somewhere else? I mean, do you need to actually, like, traveling because of your job?
No, they had an office in New York, so I was able to get work. Plus, the nice thing is that I came out of Jim's studio, so a lot of people already knew who I was, so it was easier for me to get work that way. So I mean, that's another reason why I'm always indebted to Jim. Besides having him be the start of my drawing career, or being the inspiration of my artist career, he also, having worked with him also opened up a lot of doors, and it was easier for me to get Marvel work, having worked with Jim. So, but I think at the time, when I was doing Marvel work, I kind of reinvented myself and had a more cartoony style, because the work I was doing at Jim's was more like the House Wildstorm style, and when I left that,
huge shoulder pad pouches.
Sorry.
Huge shoulder pad pouches.
Yep.
Those are the house style, isn't it?
Exactly.
A lot of
would you
hatching.
Was that?
Pop, would you have some of your samples from your early work as well as compared to your work now? Would you have any of those in your computer?
I was just looking for that just a little bit ago. I guess I've realized it's probably boring, just like watching my face go, weird stuff. That's why.
No, you'll be surprised, right? There are people in the comment section who are interested to see what was in your initial portfolio, right? They are also interested in to find out what exactly you drew during the Wildstorm tryouts. So these are all questions. So people want to know more about you.
Yeah,
don't worry. We'll pop that up on the screen shortly.
Okay, great. Yeah, because
But
I'm
you were talking about your cartoony style at Marvel that you actually want to actually get away from the house style of Image, right? So yeah.
Yes. But I was looking.
But back then,
think-
you're still doing it all traditionally, I presume.
Yes, everything was traditional. In fact, I want to say that things didn't get digital for me until like late 2000s, late
Okay.
20, like late 20. I would even say like late 2012, 2013. That was when I started going more digital. But before that, I was still very, very traditional. In fact, I was I didn't want to go digital for a long time because I felt like it was kind of a crutch. I mean, there's a certain when you're drawing on paper, you have to commit. It's like you can't erase, So you have to really know what you're doing, or you have to really like. It's a different muscle, I think.
Right.
I mean, I think I draw much better digitally because I'm able to like, oh, that doesn't look right. I'll just Control Z, and then so it looks better.
That's always this control button.
Right, but I had a lot more confidence when I was drawing on paper. It was just something that you just had to learn to be much more, commit basically, and go. And if you mess up, you're kind of like, I mean, try better next time.
Or let's use another new sheet of paper.
Right. I knew some people who were very much like that. Who were like, who would just just erase the whole thing and then just start over and stuff. But yeah, that wasn't me. I'm way too. I don't want to say lazy, but I mean, I guess that's kind of what it was. I just wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to start over on anything, So
yeah, because hours has been spent, commitment has been done.
That's
just
right.
want to
That's
actually
right.
finish the hour. But that actually just nice from Dylan, one of the viewers that's actually tuning in. He actually asked that how has digital changed your life?
how is the what? I'm sorry.
How has digital changed your life?
So I didn't want to go digital, like I was saying, but I had to go digital because around 2000, around 2007, maybe was what it was. I started doing a lot more work for DC. What's it called? Creative services or licensing. I would work on properties like World of Warcraft and Lego and companies like that, and they required layouts and all kinds of things like like it wasn't just me. It wasn't just the editor going, here, I want pages, and then send me a script, and I would just draw it and then send him the finished product. It wasn't like that, because that's how we used to work. It's just like. And again, back in the old days where it was all FedEx, you would basically never really do layouts unless you have a fax machine. You would lay out your stuff and then fax it over. But that was the thing, was that back in the day, editors would just trust that
Pre-internet.
Yeah, exactly. Pre-internet, editors would just trust that, hey, you're good enough to know your stuff, and when I say here's a script, you would just take it and just do it and then make it good. And that's what you were expected to do. But yeah, so after I started drawing for Lego and things like that, they wanted layouts, and they wanted things to be a lot more they didn't want guesswork. They wanted no guesswork at all. So that was a big difference there. And so I basically had to learn how to draw digitally, because I had to draw the layouts digitally and then send them in, email them over, and then if they wanted fixes, I would do the layouts, because they were on a computer, I could just change it very quickly. Whereas before, it was very much here's one of the things that one of the earlier work I did a long time ago. This is back in '99, looks like. So yeah, this is paint. It was a cell shaded painting, by the way.
Okay.
So there's that one. My
And
folder's
this
not
is
very
manual.
well.
Is that a manual painting?
This is a traditional painting, right?
Yeah, it's a traditional painting. On cell. It's like a
On cell, as in the animation cell. So
Yeah,
it's
animation
actually
cell.
transparent.
Yeah,
Ah,
you can see
okay.
you can see the cuts.
Mm.
I actually had to
Yes,
paint it myself. Yeah.
Wow.
Is that for a trial or for an animation that you have been doing? And
I
what
was
characters are those? Is that Zelot?
Yeah, I was about to guess this.
no,
But
this is actually a property I was working on with Scott Lobdell.
Okay.
Yeah, and we were trying to pitch it for like animation and things like that. And so yeah, that was one of the things that I did. It's so sad that like whenever I want to find something, I can never find it. Story of my life.
No worries.
That's the story of my life,
okay.
guys.
You can always come on another round for our next show.
For sure.
You
I'll
must
just,
have so much.
randomly click around, and then I can randomly click around and just find it somewhere. But yeah, so where was I?
You were talking about the digital and also
yes,
how you adopted it so that you can because of speed that you can quickly do some alteration.
Right. So because when you work for three or third party, like Lego and things like that, and they want things a certain way. So because of that, I had to kind of change the way I worked, and so I was kind of forced. I was forced to, you know what I mean?
It's like survival of the fittest, right? So if you don't change, then you'll just get
adapt
and
gotta move with the times, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like adapt, or you are not. You won't get any.
Yeah, adapt or get annihilated.
Yeah, those were the good old days. But so yeah, I mean, I don't regret going digital. Like I don't draw as well. I don't draw traditional as well as I used to, for sure, because most of my stuff is all digital now. And I mean, honestly, it does become a crutch, right? Because when you're drawing digital, I mean, in today's age, everything is about speed, right? I think the fastest I ever drew when I was working on working traditionally was about 2.5 pages a day. I was able to do that, like for like a few days out of the week, but that was like, not sleeping or anything like that. You just went to sleep.
You're not sleeping.
Yeah, But nowadays, if I push myself, I can do about maybe 5 pages a day, digital.
Wow.
Digitally or traditionally?
Digital,
right?
Digitally.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was I guess 2 years ago, there was a month where I had so many projects like piled on it. I just really mistimed everything really badly, and I had so much work to crank out that 1 month. I ended up drawing 88 pages
88 pages for a month. Wow,
88
amazing.
pages that month.
Wow.
And it was rough, man. It was really hard.
You didn't sleep, did you?
Yeah,
You're probably high on caffeine as well, so you induce yourself with
that's
caffeine
every day. I don't. Otherwise, I can't survive, man. It's just I just won't be able to. I just don't do well without caffeine. So,
All
I'm always
right.
caffeinated at all times. I will say though that I've become more of a connoisseur of the types of coffees that I drink. I used to not drink coffee at all. Like that was something that's just good. But now I don't know. I live off of black coffee. So. That's different.
Okay, we have also another comment from a viewer, Mr. Yip Hyung Wing. He was saying that I remember your art style having a very cartoon animation flavor. I presume that it will be your Marvel days. Do you feel that digital changed your style? The digital stuff looks a bit more serious on the serious side. Your serious shade, or is it because that you're actually moving back to your Wildstorm style that you started?
I think for me, I like to experiment a lot. You know, I've always been a big proponent of just drawing as many different things as I can, and I also study a lot of stuff. You know, like it wasn't. I wouldn't. I was really big into manga for like. So here's the thing. I hated manga when I was at Jim's place at Wildstorm. I was just like, man, what is up with this big-eyed weird stuff, right? I'm like, and so I hated the manga stuff. And then when
probably you did not check out the right manga.
But it was funny because after I left Wildstorm, I just started picking up manga, and then from there I just got addicted. And yeah, I think more so than anything else, it was Ghost in the Shell, the movie, that got me, and also Akira that got me
it's actually
into manga.
Very good entry point because it's a mix of manga plus the realistic stuff.
Yep. Exactly. So all of that got me into really delving deep with manga, and that was my issue with a lot. I think a lot of people, they just look at the aesthetics of manga and go, "Oh, this is manga," you know. But where it's kind of like you have to study it, the art form, to really truly appreciate what manga is. You know what I mean? Like you know, like. I don't know, I'm just big on dissecting things. Like if I see something, I have to dissect it and figure it out and break it down into like individual pieces and say, okay, here's what I understand about storytelling and the construction of art. So why is this person or this art style doing it this way, which is so different than what I'm doing? And then I would kind of just deconstruct it and figure things out. Like, you know, what's up with the big eyes for the manga thing? Is it more is it easier to do expressive, you know, emotions? You know, and that's really what it was. In a way, everything was just much more accessible, I think, than, because I think the Western aesthetic is much more like cool and action based, right? Whereas the Asian aesthetic is kind of based off the old Disney cartoons where it was, you know, accessible and cute and I don't want to say there's innocence to it, but it definitely was what he made it.
There are some real dark manga, that's for sure.
Super dark stuff out there. But anyways, so I was just big on dissecting everything. So in that way, I don't think that my every time I do like a different style, I'll also I will it's part of my toolbox from here on out. You know what I mean? Like I can still do manga. I can still do all these things, and that's part of the reason why I've been able to survive in comics for as long as I've been, is because each style that I do, I don't really lose it. It becomes a part of my like here's Ghost Rider from those early days.
Let's look at it. It has a very Joe Modera and also and also Chris Pacciallo.
So I was supposed to take over Generation X.
Okay.
I was supposed to take over Generation X after Chris Pacciallo left, and it was kind of weird because they signed me on at Marvel during this period, and the thing was that Chris was supposed to vacate Generation X, and so they wanted to put me on, but there was like 6-month gap, and so they were like, well, do you want to do Ghost Rider? I was like, what? Because they were like, yeah, Ghost Rider is tanking. It's like, you know, going down in flames. Like the sales were really bad, and so they wanted to try something new. And I was just like, sure, I guess, you know. They were like, yeah, just do it for 5 months, and then we'll put you on Generation X.
Put you back on the Generation X.
Right. So this is my Ghost Rider now, and this.
Oh, okay, very different.
Wow, look at that! Look at that style, man. So different.
This is Robbie, right? The other.
Yeah, this
Ghost
Robbie.
Rider.
That's right.
Yeah.
This is the other Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
This is definitely a very more realistic take on the on the character.
So this is like a couple of different ways of doing things, right? And that was kind of the thing too, right? Was that when they wanted me to draw Ghost Rider, I was kind of like, hey, you know, I can do like a darker style. Like they're like, no, we want you to work out your kinks for the Generation X book, but on Ghost Rider. And they were like, well, you know, Chris Pacello did Ghost Rider 2099, and he did it in his style, that sort of thing. So you can go ahead and do it in this style. But I was always kind of like, I don't know, man. I don't think that's gonna work. And but yeah, after I got on it, people hated it. They were like, oh my god, it's so bad. And so I got trashed for it pretty hard. There's another of that stuff. This is for Rob Liefeld's book called
it's not Cable, right?
Called Christian.
No, it doesn't look like Cable.
It's a technical name.
Looks like a mix between Akira and Cable.
So you can kind of tell I was big into Akira back then.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, who isn't? I think most of comic artists or anyone will be big on Akira.
So that's some more of the older style. So yeah, I flip flop a lot, going back and forth between all the different styles, and I don't know. Like I said, I think all of it stays with me. You know, like
So you're just actually filing it to your art style, and depending on storytelling, that you use the right art style to tell the right story.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. That's what I've always believed in. As a matter of fact, like I was saying earlier, or I started to say before I tangented, that I've been pretty prolific in comics because of the fact that I can adapt a lot, and you know, the companies liked me for licensing work, or they kept putting me on licensing work because I worked really, really well with third-party companies like Lego, or like when I did Gears of War, I was able to do like a darker Gears of War style, and when I was doing I can cater my style to their book, and I can I understood their look and feel, and so that's why they would have me do work with all the third-party clients. And that's it's been helpful. That's been helpful.
Good. And there is another question that coming from Yip again. Does Pop have any projects in comics coming up? What's your next thing that's actually on your to be delivered right now?
That's right. What's on your drawing table
by tomorrow?
What's on the this already came out. The thing I'm working on right now, I don't have a book that I'm on per se, but I've been doing stuff for the DC, the digital first. So that it's hard to say like, okay, this week I'm working on that, or this week, the next week I'm working on this and the other thing. But let me see if I can get to this one. Hang on. One shake. Where did it go?
Just make sure that you don't show us something that is actually not approved yet.
Yeah. So this is,
yes.
Yes.
Please don't do that. Wow, this is really good, man.
Is that like part of the movies promotion?
No, this is I did a Wonder Woman. What's it called? Agents of Peace. So I was doing some of that.
It is part of the DC digital first,
the DC
right?
digital first. Yep, correct.
Yep.
So so like I was saying, like the whole digital thing, right? With digital, you can you get away with like using like 3D models or whatever for cars sometimes, and
so it makes it faster.
Right, like I would draw would compose things digitally, on 3D. I would just compose it there and then print it out, or print it out meaning like I would do a export, and then I would drop it in here and then draw draw over top of it.
So it's almost like you're creating your own image assets that you can just put it in
right. So
create the images as you envision it.
Correct. So I'm making my assets and then exporting it. But again, you build up a library of these 3D things, and I don't know whether that's good or bad, to be honest with you, because on one hand, you become weaker as an artist because you do rely on not rely, but you get used to doing it a certain way. So you start to lose your expertise at composing things on a using the horizon lines and everything. But I mean, you obviously have to know how to use a horizon line in order to draw all this stuff anyway. So I don't know. Like I'm kind of torn between the two.
My feeling is that so long that you actually can tell a good story, anything goes, right? But I think it's the skill, like able to actually draw a very good car or a very nice scene doesn't look out of place traditionally is also something important because you used to be able to do that.
Yeah. I agree. I think if you don't know how to draw in the first place, then by all means do not go like
do not cheat your way.
Do not cheat your way.
Learn it first.
I think the foundation needs to be right before you can actually start thinking about how do you actually simplify the process. There's also a question just in line with DC, right? Speaking of DC, would you ever want to return to Cassandra Cain?
Would I want to return to where?
Cassandra Cain, Batgirl.
Oh yes. So Cassandra has always been special to me. I've always been a big fan of the Cassandra Cain BATGIRL, and I think that I guess I can't really. I'm not sure what my opinion would be about what they're doing with her now. I prefer her as Batgirl. Then I'm not sure what they've done with her at this point. Last I heard, she was like some sort of assassin, something or other. I don't know, but I feel like they kind of turned her into like a very generic character.
Very dark.
Yeah, very dark. It's just I don't know. I don't really. I'm not sure. I haven't really read any of the new stuff, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
But yeah, I would love to go back.
Yeah, sounds good. And looking at the time right now, it seems like we are actually already 40 minutes into our show. We'll probably want to actually talk a little bit about the other project, your card game that you have.
Oh yeah.
Is that
you're going to be launching on Kickstarter soon?
Yes. So I created a card game called RUMBOBOTS, and RUMBOBOTS is a collectible card game. You can follow us we have a Facebook page for RUMBOBOTS, and I would love it if people would follow me there to get more updates on the game. And it's going to right now I'm trying to round up all the numbers for printing and things like that, and then we're going to be launching it very, very soon. But the game itself is a collectible card game where you build you be the first one to build your robot as you're also fighting with your partners, your friends with this thing. And I'm trying to release a comic book that goes hand in hand with it, so that you can insert like different characters into the game as you're battling. But we'll have videos showing the demo of this thing, and it took me about a year of testing it to make it as fun as it is right now. And to be honest with you, it didn't take me very long to actually create the game, because it's based off of another game I was creating for another company in Thailand. And but yeah, so it's I was creating a battle system for Legos, and this is kind of based off of that. But yeah, and I came up with the idea for this game because I saw my son playing Pokemon with his friends, and he, it was so complicated. The Pokemon is such a complicated game, I think, for a lot of young kids because it's like keep track of numbers and hit points and everything, and which RUMBOBOTS, there's hit points, but it's very easy to keep track of because it doesn't transfer from round to round. It's just like you destroy as much as you can during your round, and that's it. You move on to the next round. But yeah, so I saw my son playing Pokemon. It's just like I felt bad for him because they were just holding the cards and going, "Mine is stronger than yours." Okay, I win.
There's no evidence of it. It's just that I shout it louder, therefore I win.
Right, exactly. So, but yeah, so they're like, okay, well, my guy Charizard has like 250 hit points or whatever. So, and this guy only has 80, so I win. So like playing war or something, basically. So that's why I created the game. But so we've got RUMBOBOTS coming up soon.
Yep, I'll be also posting the information of RUMBOBOTS in the comment section. So for guys that's actually interested, can actually just check it out.
And also, I'll be posting it on my YouTube channel. Pop Mhan Comics. A lot of the updates for RUMBOBOTS will soon be going up there, as well as like the demo and the how-to and all that good stuff, as well as a lot of videos about me doing dumb stuff. So
dumb stuff or fun stuff? It sounds like fun stuff though.
It really is. As a matter of fact, I got really, really busy with DC and trying to launch the game that I actually haven't released any new videos lately on Pop Mhan Comics, but that's also coming out soon. So I think I just found. Yep. If you want to show this is actually the page I was one of my first pages I ever drew in my life.
Okay.
This is from
the way for you to actually zoom it bigger.
Yes. So this is Alien Legion. It's that Law Dog versus Grim.
The Law Dog and Grimrod. Okay.
Yeah. So this
was the one of it that actually met Jim Lee then, right?
Yeah, this is right before I met Jim Lee. Right before. I want to say like maybe 6 months before I met Jim Lee. And started working at Wildstorm. So this is inked by an inker named Bob Downs. I penciled it, but it was corrected and fixed by my mentor at the time, Wang Win. He drew The Punisher and among other books. But you can see like here, there's like a bad crop of the finger. It's just so bad. It's like, what have you done? Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, look at that eye. Ouch. Hello. See, if this is digital, if this was digital, I can just like cut, move,
move it a little bit. Or you could use correction fluid.
I'm sorry. What was that?
You can use the correction fluid that you can white it out.
Yep, you could.
So are these still with you? I mean, are these still part of your own collection right now? Because considering that you move around so much, does your art follows you around, or you just pass it to someone else to sell it?
Well, I don't really have a lot of art anymore because I do almost everything digitally now. So, I just realized I probably should have brought up the whole RUMBOBOTS thing. Okay. So, the art, the art, kind of goes to my art dealer for the most part. And I really haven't done that much, art on paper in a long time. So there's nothing for me to sell anymore. Unfortunately. Yeah. But yeah, so I have some, these are what some of the cards look like.
Okay.
For the RUMBOBOTS. This is like a malfunction card, overdrive card, things like that. But the meat of the game is actually the character cards. And these are the characters for the game. This is like the first wave of characters. So you've got Kirpa.
I believe that if I watched the gameplay video a little bit, it's like every part. I mean, some part of the robot or the mecha has a certain property to it, right? So the idea is that for you to actually form the robot so that you can actually go into full battle. Is that how it works?
Yeah. So you have to. So you have these cards, which you can construct your RUMBOBOT using these different parts. The animal part cards. These guys actually come like you start off the game with just a torso, and each turn you attach legs, arms, that sort of thing, all the while attacking the other person while they're also trying to attach parts for their cards as well. Let me see if I can find some parts here. They're like that. So you start off with a torso. This is for the rabbit, and then you have like the arm, and then you have the head, and then the arm, leg, and the other leg. So yeah, so it's a robot builder, and you win as soon as you built your guy there. So
so for you guys that's actually interested with card games, so do stay tuned and follow Pop when he actually announced his this particular project. We will just take one last question, which is what card game does Pop plays, and how did he balance the gameplay mechanics of actually two questions, but yeah, and how did he balance the gameplay mechanics of RUMBOBOTS? Yeah.
Okay, so the gameplay it plays really fast, like Uno. Actually, if you guys ever played Uno before, and I balanced it in that way because my son really has no patience at all. So if the game doesn't play fast and it doesn't play and if there's like no strategy to it, then he's not really interested. And so in that way, depending on how many people play the game, there's a lot of a lot of attacking. Like you can either build or you can attack, and you can if you head one way or the other, too fast, then someone else could take the other strategy and win the game. So there's a lot of that. Let me show you this really quickly before we end the thing. But so oops, hang on. But so this is an animation I actually did for this is an animation I did because we were looking to turn RUMBOBOTS into an animation, and I was working with a company in Thailand trying to do that before COVID hit. Now the company's in trouble, so this has kind of been stalled. But this kind of explains like where you can kind of see where I'm going with the idea for the RUMBOBOTS. And it's funny because I had to learn how to animate, or I had to learn the 3D software. This
is actually rendered by you. I thought that you engaged a different studio for it.
Sorry, what was
that? You were saying that you are learning, and therefore these particular clips is actually animated by you.
Yeah, I did this whole clip myself because cool. I couldn't find a 3D animation team to do this for me like fast enough because everybody was projecting like months and months ahead of time, and I needed it like done like really really quick. and I had done 3D before. I know Maya and 3D Max. So, but some of these other companies, like they use like Blender, so I had to like learn how to use Blender really quick. And so I learned Blender, and I animated this in about I guess it was like 3 weeks for this clip. But yeah, but this is kind of like this is the idea for the comic book. That's going to go hand in hand with the game. So like again, you start off with torsos, with a torso that's also like a car basically, or whatever it's going to be, a spaceship, whatever. And then you gain these parts as you're playing the game, the arm and the leg and stuff like that. And then you win once you become a complete robot, because then you can destroy. So anyways, that's it. That's that's the animation.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we really wish that we actually have more time, so that we can actually have more questions and also more sharing from you. But yeah, we definitely have fun.
I'm sorry.
You were saying
more will be explained. More will be explained on the website and on my my YouTube channel. So, can you share the links for that?
Oh yes, of course.
HK,
let me just
appreciate
share it in the comment section. Yep. With that, really appreciate it that you come online sharing an hour with us. And
it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Yeah. So hopefully that we can actually talk to each other again in the near future. And just in the meantime, just stay safe, be healthy, and continue to make good art.
I will do.
And for those that have not followed Pop on his what channel would you be on? You'll be on YouTube, Facebook.
Yep, I'm on Facebook, YouTube. You can find me. Everything is at Pop Mhan, POPMHAN. My YouTube channel is Pop Mhan Comics, COMIX. And for the Facebook, it's same Art of Pop Mhan or RUMBOBOTS at Facebook.com. So you can find all those. You can find me all the places there. But yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
So thank you for your time, and we'll speak again soon. Take care. Thanks guys for tuning in. We're actually moving to our next show. So thanks guys for tuning in. We'll be actually moving to our next show very soon at 10 a.m. See you guys. Bye.